Executive producer Azariah Milan Cartagena. It's officially December. It's officially holiday season. Tonight we got one of the biggest guests we ever had on the show, and trust me, we've had him. AOC, I can't even begin. Benjamin Crump, Chris Brown, Ludacris, DJ Khaled, Papoose, Remy Ma. Shout out my sister Remy Ma, my brother Papoose. They just bought the biggest house in the universe with an indoor pool that I'll be using often. And so I'm so proud of my sister, coming from the projects in the Bronx. Y'all know what's up. Y'all know she did them 8 years. She came home and now she's a family woman and a businesswoman. And we got to salute her for being able to do that without a loan. And that's something I can't do. So shout out my brother Papoose on the check-in. I see DJ Surge on the check-in. This is by far the biggest show on IG. I realize you could be watching Michael Blackson and his girls twerk. I do realize that. Here, we just shoot it. We shoot the shit. We tell you the latest with COVID. We tell you the latest with the politics. We tell you the latest with our culture. And I'll give you a rundown for why I started doing this. Was I was watching documentaries based on hip hop. And even documentaries that were produced by people I know and I respect. And the facts was all wrong. And I kind of think I'm a hip hop historian coming from the Bronx. And I said, yo, this is crazy, because I noticed people were switching the narrative in their favor. And so I said, you know what? If I want this done right, I have to do it right myself. Someone said Westbrook for John Wall to the Wizards. I don't know. I can't confirm that. That's one of the fans said. If it is true, yeah, G-Spin said it's true. It's true. If G-Spin said it's true, it's true. You heard it right here first on the Big Show. Westbrook for John Wall. John Wall has a terrible track record of injuries, but he is a very superb player. Russell Westbrook goes hard as hell. He got about 3 years left. So let's see what happened. I know the Knicks really was trying to get Westbrook. And so for people who wonder, why does Joe do this thing? It was because of that. And there's going to be kids 10 years, 20 years from now who's going to look at certain documentaries and certain journalism based on hip-hop, and the facts are going to be wrong. So I'd rather just interview the people themselves, Snoop Dogg, interview Busta Rhymes, interview Ludacris, interview the biggest and the best in the game, P. Diddy's, and let the people see from their own mouth what the deal is. Yeah, that's a dangerous one too, Russell Westbrook and Beal. That's a big deal. And so this show is an amazing show, and I thank you for tuning in every day and being loyal. And sometimes I rant, sometimes I go crazy, and sometimes we just have fun. Tonight we have a living legend, an icon, one of one. I'll wait till the young lady comes on here so we could talk about it. You know, Pretty Lou, right after me, Pretty Lou has the DJ show, which is amazing. And one thing COVID taught you how to do is hustle. Okay.
How you doing?
I don't know. Did you know that light? Your light is kind of. I got a light too, but yours is like really bright.
Okay,
Like
is that better?
that's much better, man.
There we
That's
go.
much. Vanessa Williams, you're still so beautiful. Like it's an honor. It's amazing to have you on the big show. I thank you for doing our show.
I appreciate you for reaching out to me.
That's right. That's right. And you're such a big deal. And I like to give, people stories of inspiration, stories of triumph, overcoming tragedies, and just showing people, because a lot of our people are quick to give up and say, I tried, it didn't work for me. That is not the case with you. You're very, very, very determined. You're very, 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 very focused.
Yeah.
And you never let nothing stop you. Had
That
you been like that your whole life?
that is totally my story. And the biggest lesson is once the dust settles, success is the best revenge. Um, you know, I grew up outside New York in Westchester County. I love musical theater. I sang, I danced, I acted. I went to Syracuse University, major musical theater, and I got an opportunity to, what your freshman year you can't do anything. You could just study. Sophomore year you can perform. So I was performing. Plus, my parents are music teachers, so I grew up being a musician, playing piano, French horn, marching band, orchestra, concert band, chorus, all the stuff. And I had an opportunity to be in the Miss Greater Syracuse pageant, which I kind of blew off because I'm not a pageant girl. And I said, well, I needed the scholarship money. My mother said, go ahead and do it. And I won that and New York State and Miss America all within 6 months. So I went from my junior year that I was supposed to be in London abroad to all of a sudden I was the first Black Miss America ever in 1983. I had death threats because we're talking 37 years ago, very similar to a lot of people don't like change. A lot of people don't like to be confronted with diversity. And I was the symbol of that. So I had to prove that I was smart enough. I was talented enough. And then after being Miss America, there was an issue with some pictures that I had done, which did not have a release, and they were sold behind my back. And I had to, 6 weeks before I was finishing my year, I resigned because they were threatening you either have to resign or we'll dethrone you. So here I am at 21 years old, a scandalized beauty queen, none of which I never wanted to be a beauty queen. And of course, I never wanted to be a scandalized beauty queen. So I had so much judgment from a very early age against me. Is she talented enough? Is she smart enough? Does she really have the full package? So I heard a lot of no's, and all the people thought I would just disappear. And I said, you know what? Once the dust settles, you'll get a chance to see who I really am. And that's kind of how I live my life.
That's a great story. Coming from the Bronx, you were born in the Bronx.
I was born in Tarrytown, and we lived on East
So they
223rd.
consider Terrytown part of the Bronx?
No, we were living on East 223rd Street in the Bronx, and I was
Oh, so
born
you
in
was
West.
in the Bronx. You was in
Yeah.
Jamaican land. We call that Jamaican land.
Yes.
In the Bronx. So you was originally from there. Then y'all moved up to Westchester County.
Yes, I was baptized in Our Lady of Grace in the Bronx, and then we
Do
moved
you
up.
have any memories of the Bronx? Because I'm a Bronx guy.
The only memory I have is the woman that used to take care of me, Grandma Bacon. And I remember she was so mad when my parents decided to move up to Westchester. Because I was her baby, and she was taking care of me while my parents were. Yeah.
You have a similar story to me but in a cute way, in a funny way. Both my parents are short. And I remember when I was 10 years old, I was like almost twice their height, but I would still have to hold a hand to walk across the street. And people would always be like, that's your mother? That's your father? And you being so blue eyes,
Mm.
light skin. When I look up pictures of your moms and dad, they don't have blue eyes and they're not light skinned. And so where did you ever like research where, you
Oh
know,
yeah. Well, my parents are fair, but my dad's father had blue eyes and his uncles had blue eyes. And we did actually do some research because we didn't know on my mom's side, and we found out that she was 14% Sicilian. I was like, all right, that's where her attitude comes from.
yeah.
So it's got to be in that Sicilian mix somehow.
I mean, that's crazy because I'm looking, I'm like, yo, this is a mom, this is a dad. And I'm like, and here comes Vanessa Williams. Now,
My
Vanessa
my brother
Williams,
has them too. My brother has blue eyes
your
too.
brother has blue eyes. I didn't
Yeah,
get to
he's
see your brother.
yeah, he's an actor. His name is Chris Williams. He's probably best known as Crazy Eye Killer on Larry David, Curb Your
I know
Enthusiasm.
Crazy Eye Killer.
That's my brother Chris.
No way, I didn't know that.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. Uh, so here you are, right? You are, for me, you're our forever Miss America.
Well, thank you.
And so it could have broke you.
Hmm.
You were young. All this was coming at you. Something that's actually totally normal now. Something that's actually made people billionaires. At the time, it was too early, or maybe it was because you were the first Black Miss America that there's so much scrutiny was on you. What do you think?
I think all of the above. It was a huge betrayal because, again, I never wanted anybody. These were private. I did not want anyone to see any of this stuff. So that was a big betrayal. But also, I hadn't gotten a chance to do my thing, So, I had been performing my whole life on stage, in summer theater and regular in college and stuff. But no one knew what I had done before. So I had to prove all over again. And then once I tried to do I was she had a lot of show tunes, and when I got some record industry interest, and they said you sound too Broadway. So I had to prove, okay, I've got the chops to be a recording artist, and then Right Stuff came out in 1988. Like, okay, well, she got a hit, it went gold. We'll see about that. And then Dreamin' came out. Like, okay, well, we'll give her that ballad. Yeah, we'll see.
These are hits. These are hits.
Comfort
Continue. These are
Zone.
hits. Yeah,
Yeah.
keep talking about
Comfort
this music.
Zone,
Like,
Save the Best for Last, lasted 8 weeks at #1. And that wasn't even, they didn't even want to give me that
who
song.
is that so that people could get a perspective who maybe don't know? Who was that #2 and #3 at that time?
Eric Clapton was #2 for 8 weeks. And he had written that song, Tears from Heaven, about his unfortunate son who fell out the window. So it was a great song. It was killing me, but we were
No,
number
he
one.
wanted to kill you because you was in the way. Like I had Make It Rain at #2, and Jim Jones had Ballin', and that Ballin' wouldn't come down. And I was up there like, yo, could you just come down and let me get a #1? And it never came down. So he was looking at your record like, Jesus, right? I had to go up against her. Who was #3?
I don't know who #3 was, but Eric Clapton did mention my name when he won. He won Record of the Year for the Grammys, and he acknowledged me for not making it to #1 because of me. So that made my night.
Here we celebrate, and we want to get out the dark, right? But something I saw, something I saw that you had said you were suing Penthouse because they used they used your pictures without your permission. You never had a release,
Right.
and you most likely would have won the lawsuit. But they brought up stuff in the past, and you had said you had got, I don't know if the right word was, molested at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
And can you tell us about that a little bit? Because, I'm a parent that I have a daughter, she's 14.
Mm-hmm.
She's the executive producer of this show. And I'm terrified to leave her in anyone's house.
Right.
And even people we know and we love, because I feel like once, somebody takes away that innocence, we can't replace that. And then I don't want my daughter to always look at me like, Dad, you wasn't there.
Right, right.
So what was like that?
Well,
Uh,
yeah. So I wrote a book with my mom, and that was one of the things that came up when I was talking about why I dropped the lawsuit. Because a lot of people are like, "Fight for your crown. You won fair and square. You are Miss America," and they went behind your back and all this stuff. And when we started, lawyers are dirty, and you know that everyone kind of hustles up the dirtiest team to get a win. And so I'm dealing against Penthouse, who has a huge connections all over the place.
mm,
And so we started doing depositions and stuff. And then they said, everything's going to come out. And one of the questions, which I write in my book, that's called "You Have No Idea." They said, "Have you ever been with a woman?" And I said, well, I was molested at 10 years old by a woman. They said, well, that's gonna come out. And I said, you know what? My parents have supported me enough. I want to get on with my career. I don't want to be humiliated any more than I am. And that's why I dropped it I was 20, 21, 22, and it could have been a payday. I doubt it, because they would have used everything, every trick in the book
yeah,
to,
it's a
to,
classic case of making the
yeah,
villain out the victim.
right.
And
Exactly.
but you never laid down. And so you went on and you have this extensive musical career and just so many hits. I don't know if you know, I started out with "Welcome to the Comfort Zone."
Yeah.
It
That
made me
was,
throw my little Christmas hat on. Uh, one of the
uh,
things I admire about you so much is being so if I were to judge you and not really know your background, which I don't,
right.
but just what I know, I would say she never had kids. She was just career driven. So if I look at your career from Broadway to music career to pageants to movies to TV shows, to best-selling books, uh, dance. I would say this woman has no time for no men. This woman has no time for nothing but this career. And yet and still you have 4 kids. Why are you doing all this? Uh, how
Yeah.
hard was it juggling the two?
Well, I got married at 23. I had my first kid at 24, second at 26, third at 30. I brought them when I was auditioning for roles, I would bring Melanie, who's now 33, bring her stroller to the audition. The other ladies would watch while I went in and read, and then I'd take her out. I brought her in the recording studio with me. I brought my kids, like, always on location and stuff. So I always kind of made them part of my life.
Man, and so they would allow you to bring them to work.
Well, yeah, I had no choice, and it was back then. I mean, you kind of hid your pregnancies. With the first Grammy Awards that I was nominated for Best New Artist, I wore a huge blue leather trench coat with a scarf around my neck to try to hide my bump, because back then it was like, oh my gosh, she's pregnant. When is she going to be able to work again? And it's not celebrated like it is now. I mean, we're talking 80s. You know.
You know, I have a friend who I'm not comparing, a friend to the show who I'm not comparing to you at all, but she's very, very beautiful. Her name is Amber Rose. I don't know if you ever
Oh,
heard
sure.
of her.
Of course,
So,
of course.
so Amber Rose says that she won't date an attractive man. She says she'll date, guys we call not so, not handsome. Let's just
Hmm.
say her guys, she likes them like that. And so when we look at Vanessa Williams and we say, Vanessa Williams, one of the most beautiful women to ever walk earth. Like you think of Cleopatra, Vanessa Williams, uh, you know, uh, what's my girl with the blonde hair that passed away? The John F.
Marilyn Monroe.
Kennedy, Marilyn
Yeah.
Monroe.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
These are these people. You're one of them, like one of them all time.
Well,
Um,
thank you.
and and
Thank you.
but then you marry Rick Fox was one of the most stunning men in the universe, and he's a basketball. Like, was there a competition of who's more prettier?
Well, yeah. So Rick was I had three kids from my first marriage, and I met my first husband because he was my publicist, and then he became my manager and really helped me because I was frustrated as an actress because wasn't getting the parts that I wanted. And he said, if you really want control of your career, record, because you can record what you want, work with who you want, have the images that you want. And that's kind of what opened the door for working with Arnold Schwarzenegger and, doing Soul Food and all those kind of opportunities, because the recording industry gave me that success to be legitimate. So Ramon was my first husband. I had 3 wonderful kids with him. And then I was single, and one of my friends said, there's this guy in the Lakers. I think he'd be perfect for you. I said, oh, a basketball player, really? So I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Not Vanessa. Like, yo, Vanessa, I'm like a boy. You went
but
there?
Then I met him, and he was intelligent and 6 years younger than me, and he came hard.
And he wanted Vanessa Williams, and both of you beautiful. Like, what was that like? Like, I mean.
Well, yes, he is a very beautiful man. A lot of women were after him, but he was loyal, and
was that the first time, because you're Vanessa Williams, right? Just to give you a comparison.
Okay.
I shot a video one time with my sister J-Lo, and her husband at the time was Mark Anthony, my brother.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, while I'm doing the video with J-Lo, I'm with her. So I'm looking at the cameraman and all the men, and every face, the guy sweeping the floor, the police, the security, the cameraman, the light man, every single guy was throwing on their sexy face, licking their lips, but Mark Anthony was right here seeing this. And I was like, Jesus Christ, does this happen every day? So that's what it's like having Vanessa Williams as your wife. And finally, you got a guy that probably was getting those same type of looks at the time. That was the first time you dealt with that, right?
Yeah, no, he was super handsome. That was definitely the first time I dealt with that kind of, but you got to be comfortable in your own skin. And we had a beautiful baby together, Sasha, who's now 20. And you've got to trust it. I mean, you can be nervous about anybody you're married to and be jealous and ruin the relationship because you're so obsessed with what you think other people are thinking, that you're not even tuned into your own relationship. So it's a waste of time if you're worried about everybody else. You got to commit to who you're with.
And this isn't directed at Rick Fox at all, but it's a question I want to know. It's more like a birds and the bees question. Even the most beautiful woman in the world, Vanessa Williams. Have you ever been cheated on by a guy in a relationship?
Yes. But, it's the attention you're giving to the relationship. I've always been very busy. You talked about my career. I travel. I do Broadway. It's 8 shows a week. I'm not home every night. Those kind of things test the relationship. And if you are checked out, your other partner can check in with somebody else. So, that's one of the pitfalls of being really, really busy,
Because I've always wondered, like who cheats on Vanessa Williams with, like, who's the girl? Like,
who's the girl?
Yeah, like who's, like, who?
It's attention, though. It has nothing to do with, like, it's all
beauty.
Attention. Yeah, it's always attention. It's always insecurity. It's always, if there's no connection, or you're losing a connection, or you feel emasculated, or, because there's a lot of, relationship goes through ups and downs and power struggles and stuff. It all kind of, messes with your head.
You know, this was a long time ago, so I'll take it from the Miss America people because I hate hearing the first black of anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like now, they come the first black person to win the Emmy. The first, I'm like, yo, what the fuck, man? We've been
Mm-hmm.
talented for 400 years. Like, how we gotta win it now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll give them that. You know, it was a long time ago, right? But when you won, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being that you're light skinned, you got blue eyes. What anybody looked at you like maybe you're not black enough?
Oh, I heard that. For sure I heard that, which hurt my feelings too, because I was kind of stuck in the middle. I had black women that would come in, elderly living women with tears in their eyes saying, I never thought I'd see it in my lifetime, which fed me so much. And then I would hear, well, she's not black enough, so it doesn't count. And then I get, well, she is black, so let's kill her. One of my first homecoming parades, there were snipers on the top of buildings with my open car because of the death threats. And my parents kind of hid a lot of the threats. They just say, oh, you're going to Chicago? Watch out. Oh, you're going to Alabama? Just keep an eye out. And wouldn't tell me the danger that I was in because I was only 20 years old. They didn't want to freak me out. So it was really kind of, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place.
It's crazy because I asked you that question because we have actually have the first African American woman who's going to be vice president of America. And I've too heard cries of she's not black enough. You lived that already, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've been there before.
Yes. And at that point, you just got to do your job and be excellent. And that's exactly, I think, what Kamala gives us and will give us. She's going to give us excellence. You can disagree with her personality or say she laughs too much, she's too shrill, whatever, but she's got the knowledge, she has got an agenda, and you can feel proud that she's from Jamaica and her mom is Indian, so she is the epitome of the American dream.
Yeah, I love what they're doing. What Biden's doing with his team is just the team is a true reflection of what America looks like 2021. And for so long we just been looking at the same old, and I love how he's getting a lot more females in there, how he's diversifying with quality people. He's not just picking them because they're minorities or they're women. They deserve to be there. But he has the courage, I guess, to put everybody together. One of my biggest regrets, I had a friend of mine come on here. His name is Salam Remy. He's a super producer. He produced Amy Winehouse. He produced the Fugees. You name it, big guy. And he had made me this beat for me, and he tailor-made it for me. And I didn't take it. And the Fugees took it, and they sold 30 million records with this beat. It was called Fuji La, right?
Ah.
And I was stumbling across, and I realized you turned down the role that Halle Berry took for Munster's Ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on, man. Like Vanessa, let me, like, what did that feel like when she's winning the award and everybody's talking about this movie?
Well, I actually thought to myself, would I have won it if I had done it? Because you never know. You can do something and not get attention or get wrong kind of attention. And I turned it down because I had my kids and I didn't want to be bent over naked, getting rammed in front of them when they were, I just had a baby like the year before. And I just thought, okay, this is not the role for me at this point. I had, Eraser made over $100 million back in the day, and I was on a roll doing a bunch of stuff that I loved and getting a chance to have fun. And when that came around, I didn't feel that it was the right thing. So when she won, good for her. But I think it might have been because of her specifically,
That's that's a humble way to look at it, because she really did that role,
Yeah, and that was also Harvey Weinstein, and that was a whole other crew that I'd never worked with before, and I think she'd worked with them before and stuff. So I was happy I
So
dodged
that
that
movie
bullet.
was actually I should have known Harvey Weinstein did that one.
Mm-hmm. I
Wow.
dodged that bullet.
You don't. Wow. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, this
But
sick shit in this business. Sick shit.
hmm
Like,
hmm
but I think of you as the strong type. Like, I don't think they came at you like that. Like,
No, I mean, again, I had kids so young that I always was like, I had grown up so
wifed
quickly.
up.
Yeah, wiped up, and I had grown up so quickly that I wasn't young damsel in distress. But it's been so interesting these past few years where people have just had a comeuppance. I mean, all the stuff that people have been doing on the down low has all risen to the top. And especially this past year, it's been like, I know it's been crazy, but it's almost like destruction. And everything now is just kind of trickling down and filtering down, and you see people as they really are, how they really feel, and the veil is kind of open and like, okay, this is where we are. Okay, that's who you are. Okay, that's how you feel, and there's no
Hey,
disguising it
I had
anymore.
Tyrese Gibson. I had Tyrese come up here, and he was like, "Yo, we can't really judge nobody because if we really, really looked at people's real lives, some of the people we looked up to our whole lives are sick fucks." I
Yeah,
mean,
I know. Yeah.
it's some of the things you hear is just like you like what? Like,
hmm
the last one I heard, I don't know if you heard. Nah, I can't tell you that one, but uh, I make reference to it. Did you hear about the CNN analyst? Did you hear about that
You mean on the Zoom call?
on the Zoom call?
hmm
Yo, like yo,
Yeah.
Vanessa, this is sick shit. Not like you got to be a
It's
sick.
Yeah. I mean, learn how to turn it off first, but then why are you in such a rush? Like, what is getting you that excited that you got to do it right then?
At the spot. And then you got like, this is a guy we look at every day for advice,
Yeah.
legal advice, Supreme Court
hmm
advice, federal advice, and he's a sick fuck. Nah, you know,
Yeah.
it's
All being
crazy.
revealed.
You've done everything, anything possible. I mean, there's stuff I don't even know you've done because it's just so much. Like, as I kept researching and researching, and I was just like, all right, Ugly Betty,
hmm
Desperate Housewives,
hmm
this, that, this. What is left for Vanessa Williams to do? Like, what is going to fill your cup, your glass of water?
hmm
What's going to make you feel complete? Like, I did it
Well,
all.
do you ever? I never feel like I've done it all. I always feel like there's something more, which is great. I'm like hashtag more. What's next? What are we gonna do? Who am I working with? I love collaboration. I think our artistry is all about give and take and feeding off each other and building something together. So it's never just one way, and I love whether it's on the stage and working with a cast and getting charged with the music and what are they giving you and what how you feel, whether it's writing a book and working with your editor and saying, oh my god, we can do this, we can do that, and we can turn it into a cartoon. And so there's always stuff to make more, and I can't wait to continue to make more. So it's producing. I've got a bunch of properties that I'm going to talk about for film, for television, and for stage. And just working with people that I've never, worked with, that I would love to just create with. I think I would die if I couldn't create. And, I work with Cicely Tyson, who is 90, I think she's 95. And,
She
we
still
did,
looks amazing. She
yep,
still looks
yeah,
amazing. I seen her last year at the Essence Fest.
yeah,
They were
amazing.
honoring Mary J. Blige, and she
hmm
got up there and was talking like she was 30.
Yeah, exactly. And we would do 8 shows a week. And at the end, we do our final bow, and then I take her arm, and Cuba Gooding Jr. was on one side, and then when we did another show, Blair Underwood was on the other, and we lift her up and bring her into the wings, and we put her down, and this is a tiny little old lady. She says, "Ooh, that was good. I can't wait to do it again." And I was like, that's what I want to hear. I want to feel that when I am 95, like, that was great. Let's do it again. That's what keeps you alive and keeps you young.
Yeah, that's how that's I feel the same way. Like, you know, I've been rapping for 25 years and I still, you know, get around. I fake retired. And so I retired, and then now I have the big show. So now I said I'm gonna make the soundtrack to the big show. Like, I'm still retired, but hey, I'm gonna do an album, a soundtrack for the big show. And I think it's just all an excuse to do what we love to do. Let me ask you something. You're so graceful, paused, charismatic. What is a ratchet Vanessa Williams like? What would you consider a ratchet moment?
Ooh, I don't know about ratchet, but it's probably dancing barefoot with my girlfriends, eating some really good barbecue. We had this COVID crew because I had COVID in March, and a bunch of my friends had it in March, and so we
So
knew
you
we had
caught
the
it? So you
yeah,
caught the
yeah.
COVID.
I caught it in London when I was doing City of Angels there, and so I flew over before they closed down the United States, and I recovered over here. So, and it was crazy because, you know, in March, you didn't know where to get a test. Should I go to the hospital, whatever. So I just buckled down and just had my 2 weeks at home, which was good. But a bunch of my other girlfriends also got it in Vegas. They had a big party, and all they got sick as well. And so every week we would switch houses, and we had loud music. We would drink, we'd have a specialty drink, always barefoot, always playing Megan the Stallion or something to get us all pumped up, and just have fun. And that's, you know, when I could let my hair down and just be with
I know you
people
like
that,
to smoke cigars every now and then. I know
yes.
you like lobster. I know some things about you. I know some things.
I actually I actually did an edible with my mom last week. My
Unbelievable.
my brother's like, "You want one?" I go, "No, come on, mom's here." He said, "Mom just had one." I said, "What?" All right. So
So mom did an edible.
yes, more than
And what
one.
was that like? Like paranoid? What was
No, it was fine. It was fine. She's 80. It helped with her neck, she said. That's why she took it. And my mom is cool. She's so cool and loves life. And she's such a great example of, like, just keep living. She is great.
man, and very supportive through your tough times, man.
Yeah.
She had your back all the
Yeah.
way. Mom's I thought that was beautiful when you wrote the book with your moms.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Both
mean
my parents were, yeah.
yeah, that's real beautiful. You know, that's real beautiful that you have that type of relationship with your moms and she's still here. Thank God.
Thank
God
God.
bless her.
Thank God.
God
Thank
bless her.
God.
Let me ask you
Mm.
something. Who influenced you in your singing? Who
Ooh.
did you look up to that made you want to become, you know, this singing sensation?
Well, you know, when I never thought I'd be on the radio, for sure. You know, my parents would take me to Radio City, and my mother would say, "Oh, you know, you're a dancer. Maybe you could be the first Black Rockette." She'd always put these, like, seeds of, like, these, why don't you could do that? So Alvin Ailey, we saw Alvin Ailey. They're having their benefit tonight, and I would love to watch Judith Jamison dance. And she's like, "Oh, you could be an Ailey dancer." So there was always these goals that she would kind of just sprinkle there. And I remember seeing Stephanie Mills in The Wiz. And I was on the first row of the mezzanine with my mom on a matinee. And I heard her voice, but just like it was theater. I knew that it was only a train ride away. And I was like, okay, this is what I could do for a living. All I have to do is get the job, and I can have a role on Broadway and you know, make a living for that. So I definitely think musical theater. And then musically, Shaka was that's my era. And then when I was in high school, I was listening to, I don't remember, do you remember WRVR, which was all fusion jazz? That was like my of course I had my BLS poster behind me, which was all,
You know, at that time, I wouldn't even know what jazz was at that time. You know, me, I was
mm-hmm.
like, I was hardcore. I was
Yeah.
NWA, you
Uh-huh.
know,
Uh-huh.
LL Cool, Heavy D. So You must know Heavy D. Well, you knew Heavy D because you grew up near where Hav's from.
Yeah. Well, you talked about LL. I was at that famous concert. It was DMC, Houdini, LL, Beastie Boys, and it was in Long Beach, in the Long Beach Arena when the riot broke out. And so I was like mid of the standing up like probably seven, 8 rows deep, and everyone's standing. And then all of a sudden you could hear stuff going on, and people were like taking chairs and hitting each other and all kinds of stuff. And the bodyguard knew that I was out there and called me and pulled me from the audience and pulled me backstage with everybody. And we were locked backstage until the police came to calm everyone's ass down, because it was like Bloods and Crips going crazy in the audience. And that was probably 1985, maybe 85,
Yeah,
86.
you know what's crazy is Snoop Dogg apologized for that recently in an interview somewhere. He
Did
was
he?
like, look, I want to say sorry. I think he was on Versus. When he did the Versus, he was like, yo, I'm sorry for Long Beach when they
I
messed
was
up hip
there.
hop out here. I'm sorry for my city. Forgive us.
That was
And
crazy.
wow, so you was in that melee.
I was in that melee that night. Yeah. But LL I've known since, he was 18, because we both kind of moved out to LA around the same time, mid 80s or so. And, it's when you grow up in the tri-state area, it's all the same records, it's all the same radio, and it's all kind of the same culture. So like, what freaks me out is like when I go to Earth, Wind and Fire concerts, and Verdine's texting me, hey, hon, you gonna come? And Earth, Wind and Fire was like legendary. And now I can say I'm friends with Verdine White. Crazy.
Yeah, like you brought up Stephanie Mills. Like she's on my top 5 of all time. And, she's a good friend. Rest in peace, Tony. Her best friend passed away this week, Tony. And so I called her up and I told her I'm sorry to hear that. And Stephanie Mills is somebody my mother and my aunt would dance to and play the music. And the fact that she's a friend and we talk to each other it's the craziest
Crazy.
thing in the world.
Yeah,
Right?
that's crazy.
It's like surreal when you're like, yo.
Yeah.
And then sometimes not as crazy. Trust me, I know the feeling. I've been around people that I look up to. I look up to LL. I look up, and I've been around them. One day I'm sitting, a good friend of mine is Scottie Pippen, and one day I'm sitting with him, and I just, for a slight second, I groupied out, and I looked at Scottie for a second, and just remembered all the games, him and Michael, and I'm like, God damn, I'm sitting next to Scottie Pippen. and I understand what you're saying. It bugs me out. I'm gonna ask you one good last question. Well,
Okay.
2, because my favorite of all time is Luther Vandross.
Luther.
And I saw you on the tour. I was up a deck, and you were about this big. On the
1997.
tour, yup, I was there with a 3-piece suit on, and my wife was with me. And tell me what that was like going on tour with Luther Vandross, and what it's like even knowing Luther, and what share memory you have with Luther with us.
Well, Luther, I had been friends with for a long time, probably since 1986, 87. And he had a fabulous house in Beverly Hills. It was Rona Barrett's house, who was a big gossip, kind of like a Wendy Williams, but the white Wendy Williams back in the day. And he loved to have these screenings. And so you'd, go to a screening and you'd see Patti LaBelle sitting over there on one couch and Quincy on another, and blew my mind. But he was we had a connection because of New York. We were both out in LA at the same time. We both had the same attorneys, so we were both going through stuff at the same time. So it was almost like we were at the same level of drama and crisis, and that's how we really kind of bonded. And he became a really, really good friend, and I loved touring with him. we would do a Soul Train line, and he'd come down and do the Soul Train line with us and take us out for dinner, and just a
Did he sing
sweet,
all
sweet.
day? He looked like the type that sing at dinner. Sing
No,
at.
he saved it. He saved it, and would, you know, and he had everything, had no air conditioning at all, so it was hot and humid, but that's
So he
gave him
wouldn't
that.
have no air conditioning in his
Ooh,
house?
no, no, no. In the house, okay, but on the road, no, it was cut off. Yeah, but he was amazing. I miss him so much. Last
Man,
time I
he was the
saw him,
greatest.
yeah, last time I saw him, he was singing at Shaq's wedding, and I looked at him, and he was almost like gray, like his skin was definitely did not look healthy, and he had
Something was
lost.
going on.
Yeah, he was up and down. He'd lost a lot of weight. And I was like, "How you doing?" And he's like, I'm okay. I'm okay." And he said he was just getting over something. But I mean, I used to have dinner with him here he used to live in Connecticut, and we used to go to the Chinese restaurant together. I go to his house, and what the craziest thing was, he had a huge house in Greenwich, and he had a lounger, like a lounge chair, leather lounge chair, and he had a little towel put on the back, and had a little TV in the middle of his walk-in closet, and that's where he loved to hang out, in his massive walk-in closet with his little lounger, watching a little TV. And I was like, God, he has all this money, but he feels the coziest in there. So that was just, it kind of tripped me out, because that. You still there?
I, yeah, I hear you now. I hear
Can you
you.
hear
I hear
me?
you. You had went off for a second.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
This is
Yeah,
amazing stuff, because you know this. He's somebody that it's my favorite. It's my favorite. There's nobody I love more than Luther.
yeah.
Sing. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think nobody. Me.
No,
I argue. Spike Lee says Marvin Gaye. I got people who say Stevie. But me, I'm Luther.
you're Luther. Mm-hmm,
My
mm-hmm.
Luther story is I never met him. When he was sick in the hospital in Manhattan, I pulled up across the street with my wife, and because I didn't know him, I didn't want to get like rejected, so I was scared to go upstairs. I wanted to go upstairs and tell him how much I love him and what he's done for me, but I didn't have the courage to go upstairs and see him. And he passed maybe a couple of days later.
Mm.
And I sat in front of the hospital for like an hour or two, and she was like, "Yeah, go up there. He probably knows who you are."
Ah,
And I was like, that's how much I love Luther. I'll give you
love
one more question, and you've been very, very great
it.
with us, and you, not just us. In life, I've noticed, and I'm very similar to where you've been very transparent.
Mhm.
And you don't hide nothing. Your life is like an open book, and I'm the same way. And I just want people to learn from my mistakes,
Right.
or maybe get inspired by something that happened to me. So that's why
Exactly.
I'm so transparent. Is that why you're so transparent?
Exactly. It's always, you can learn from what I've gone through in my journey. Absolutely. I totally agree.
All right, I
Hmm.
want to ask you a trick question.
Uh-oh.
It's not really a trick. It's uh, name 5 of your favorite rappers in in,
Oh,
in your life of all
all
time.
right. So does Tribe count as 3, or is that just
Tribe
one?
counts as one.
Okay. So Tribe, LL, I would say Nas, of course, you. And uh, see, there's anthems, and then there's like grooves. Um, I would say Big Pun for that was a time in my life where I was out of, the kids were young. I was just out of my marriage. And that summer of like 96, that was the jam. Big
That
Pun.
body crack,
Yes, absolutely.
body crack. And just yeah, but you had Tribe, you had Nas, you had
Yeah.
LL. These are a lot of Queens people over here.
All right, so
Hey,
no
Vanessa,
Bronx.
man, we love you. I
Love you
thank you for
too.
coming on the
Mwah.
show. I
Thank you.
appreciate you so much for coming on here. The people, it's COVID, and we're trying to do something to make the people happy, to uplift the people and bring some joy in their life. And you definitely did that tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks, everybody. Love
Okay.
you. All
Bye-bye.
right.
Love you too.
Bye-bye.
Wow. You don't know who I know? Vanessa Williams. Ro Parrish. You don't know who I know? That's Vanessa Williams. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. That was Vanessa Williams. Our forever Miss America. And a whole bunch of other stuff. She ain't leave it at that. She's done these movies, The Racist. She's done Ugly Betty. She's done everything you can name. Broadway. That was big. That was big. That is big. Huge. We had Maya on Monday. Damian Lillard yesterday. Vanessa Williams tonight. I promise you, tomorrow night, Throwback Thursday, will never be the same. And so this is the biggest show in the game. The big, 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 big. And I see everybody jacking our slang. I see shows on TV now calling themselves the big show. I mean, I'm starting to feel like Little Richard of journalism. They jacking our waves so hard, they literally have shows on TBS called The Big Show. I watch CNN talking about they the big show. Like, in a second it's going to be, you don't know who I know. Shout out my brother Pat Poops on the check-in. This ain't. There is no competition, bro. Don't lie to yourself. The range is out of control. What we are able to do is crazy. And so this woman, man, I got so much love for her to come on here because, man, I dare you to Google her and see who interviewed her. Ellen, Oprah, Larry King. She ain't doing no shit like this for nobody. DJ Nasty, the Groovin' Cuban. She ain't doing this for nobody. Tomorrow night, big. Tomorrow night, Throwback Thursday, huge. And you believe me, we've been so consistent. 8.5 months. Chef Mark, 8.5 months to where you believe whatever I say now. You believe I'm going to, let me ask you a question. Fire signs if you believe I'm going to bring somebody enormously big tomorrow night, Throwback Thursday. Can I see the fire signs, please? If you believe it, or you think I'm a fraud and I'm lying to you. If you believe it, let me see some fire signs. Rosso Valid on the check-in. So nice to see you, brother. Rosso Valid on the check-in. What's up, brother, man? You jumped out, huh? First time I seen my son on the comments. I love you, Rosso Valid. I mean, there they go. And you have your answer. There they go. You see the fire signs? It's going to be big tomorrow. You see the fire signs? It's going to be huge tomorrow. Extremely real hip-hop, the ball. And so we're grateful. And we're thankful. God is great. Believe in God in your good times and your bad times. Believe in God, man. Everything in life is a lesson. And in life, we go through lessons to prepare us for the future. So believe in God. Know that God is a supernatural God. Well, you know, Remy was on here 2 weeks ago. People were like, yo, where's Remy Ma? And she was on here 2 weeks ago. Pat was on there 3 weeks ago. Ludacris was on here 2 weeks ago. Roxanne Shante, y'all can check that episode. That was a big one too. Everybody knows where it's at. There's no political affiliations with this show. There's no come over here, Fat Joe does your interview, that he could play your record or this. All these guys, nobody's fucking with this. This is pure out of authenticity and respect. Roe Parrish, big news today. John Wall for Russell Westbrook. Big news, Roe Parrish. Hey sis, Remy's on the comment. Now you know we got a classic. I see you, sis. Love you, babe. Oh, you home in that big, you in the new thing? I know Uncle Richie came to see. Did he swim in your indoor pool? Cousin Miriam, what's up? Shout out my Aunt Barbara. My Aunt Barbara, my favorite aunt, she called me up talking about, yo, do I know who got the, what is it, the Xbox or the PS5? The shit everybody going crazy for. I'm like, DT, I don't know. And if they do, boy, they want a grip for that. What's Remy saying? Not yet. He didn't jump in the pool. I'm jumping in the pool. As soon as I go up top, I'm taking my indoor swimming pool gear, and I'm jumping right in that pool. So, yeah, sis, boy, I'll tell you what, you stuck on another level. Kiss my goddaughter for me. Shout out my brother DJ Khaled and his wife and his kids. They on the cover of Parents Magazine. Get that issue. Go support the Khaleds. My brother does everything for his family. He does it all out of love. He does it all for the light. If you see me being a nicer guy, it's because of him. This guy, all he preaches is love and God and family. So, you know, I'm proud of my brother being on the cover of Parents Magazine. I'll see you tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern. Revolt TV, 10 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday. Thank you for tuning in. Thank the very beautiful Vanessa Williams. She's still knocking them out the box. I mean, you know, that's one in every 100 years or something. You know, Vanessa Williams. Like, you know, it's just a special thing there. Peace, y'all. Love y'all. Shout out to Rock. Shout out to Fan Mio. Peace.